what's the most critical issue when you talk about community engagement? So, I've seen projects absolutely die a horrible death because someone just assumed that, for instance, the community wouldn't be worried about some treasured and rare species of animal or something like that. You know what I mean? I've just seen
dog or a bird,
or whatever it is. It just does my head in to think that. Okay, but if anyone had done their work, they would have realised that would have been potentially an issue to that local community based on some sort of, analysis of what the habitat was like or what was going to be disturbed.
Mm.
And to leave it at the 11th hour when you're getting, council meetings getting swamped with local constituents, I just say, well, where was the consultation before?
Mm. And it's a huge driver through Brisbane City Council at the moment. Councillor Adams is a big advocate for community engagement to the point where, even if it's essentially a code accessible application these days, they want to know that you have been embracing the local community and that has been a level of consultation through that process. And I think, just out of respect, I think it's a process that every developer should be going through, knocking on your neighbour's door, hey, just letting you know this is what we're proposing next door. And you'll always, there hasn't been a project where we haven't had a misalignment of expectations or desires for a particular outcome. And that's just something that, you'll always face in development. I'm reading a book at the moment, and one of the quotes in it is that lot wasn't zoned vacant, and that's the truth of the matter. Where development will always happen, whether it's infill, greenfield spaces, high density, low density, commercial, residential. It's the way that we evolve as a society. I think the biggest thing for me in the community engagement space is being going down that journey very, very early on, as early as you possibly can. It doesn't, at the end of the day, technology and access to information is so readily available at the moment. More often we find that, people know about a development application before it's even been lodged. We're pretty well connected these days. And so being on the front foot and getting in front of your local community in terms of what you're proposing for that site is actually, I always find it's actually a really good thing. You'll always have those people that are the naysayers for any development that you put forward, but you'll often always find that the people that, that you do engage with, they go, oh, I'm really grateful that you've actually taken the time to explain to me what it is that's being proposed. And, more often than not, there is an opportunity to have, I can't talk on behalf of everyone, but a level of influence in the way that the project does get delivered, whether it's, some level of input into the design, or, if you're an adjoining neighbour, how that can be treated up against the boundary line, or the way that, explaining the way that traffic in and out of the site is going, building an apartment complex, instantly people are always like, oh my God, there's going to be so much traffic. But if you can actually sit with them and say, well, no, not everyone leaves at exactly the same time every single day. So no, you're not going to have 100 cars sitting at that intersection at 8:30 in the morning. So, and I guess it's very much, community engagement is very much an education process. And when you actually invest the time and the energy into it, people come out and they're like, oh, and more often than not, I have projects that we go down this journey on, when the client gets behind us and they go, yeah, okay, we trust in your process and we're going to back you in it and go for it. We'll rely on the strategy that you develop, and we'll often have, a significant portion of supporters, usually it's an impact accessible development application. We'll have a high number of supporters that put forward their letters of support for the development application. We had a DA recently, which we were just waiting to get through the appeal process before we made any announcements on it. But we had 94% of the submitters were supporters for the development application. It was in New Farm. And every single DA of that calibre in the area is always court ordered. So, and not always approved even through that process. So we had an approval, we had an overwhelming level of support through the community, got through the appeal process, not, of the 2 people that did object to the site, they didn't lodge an appeal. So I think that's...
I don't want to do lawyers out of a job, but
I know, sorry.
But that's fine, because
there was a lot of legal advice through the process, don't worry.
But yeah, I can imagine that saves a significant amount of money in legal fees.
Time and effort and angst.
Community engagement, rather than fighting it out with a barrister and a lawyer. Seems like a no-brainer to her.
Yeah.
At least have a crack at the community engagement to me.
Yeah.
That seems like a great result, though. Is that quite rare to have that high level of support?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially, and this was in New Farm, so that was where a lot of people are very, very, very vocal and anti new development. So that was a great outcome for us.